Okay, guys, it's another episode of Talking Preps. We're to the conference tournament week. The private schools are in their state championship week. They have semifinals, quarterfinals, semifinals, and state finals this week. So it's going to be a busy week. We've got a busy show. Randall, are you ready?
Let's go.
Ready? Richard, you ready?
Yes, sir.
Here we go. All right, Randall, you rock stars.
Excited. Delaney Hill from Providence. She had a career high 33 points with 6 assists Tuesday night versus Garinger. Next on the list, Lily Booker over at Mallard Creek. Lily had 22 points, 7 rebounds, 4 steals Tuesday versus West Meck, and then followed up on Friday with 15 points, 4 steals versus Chambers. Molly Burns of Audrey Kell had a good game this week. She scored 22 points, had 7 rebounds and 4 steals versus Palisades. And last but certainly not least, our Randall's Rock Stars of the Week, Kiara Anderson, first up from East Lincoln. She had 27 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists Tuesday versus North Iredale. Followed it up with 26 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals versus North Lincoln on Friday. And then her teammate Emma Monatari from East Lincoln also had a big game as well. And we have these two lovely ladies joining us today. How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Good.
My question, and we have Kiara on the screen, but we call her Kiki. We don't call her by nickname. When you guys are in practice, are you on the same group or are you facing off against each other?
We're in the same group.
So the other team has no chance at all, right, in practice?
No.
How do you guys share the wealth? Because you guys are both having phenomenal seasons, and it seems like you guys are, both allowing the other one to get off pretty equal.
I feel like we both have different roles that we fill, and filling in those roles individually creates for other people, and just doing our job lets us get what we need to get and lets her get what she needs to get.
Yeah, same question, Emma. How do you guys, work it out together to play so well together?
I would say similar to Kiki, we both have different roles and help each other with what we need to do together.
Tell me about going to the playoffs. I know it's conference tournament this week, but you guys are going to go to the playoffs next week. You guys obviously want to get to a state championship. You have a real serious chance of getting there. What's it going to take to kind of get over that hump and go all the way to Winston-Salem?
I feel like it will take, as far as the team, we already are kind of more disciplined and stuff like that. It'll be more so getting our individual assignment down pat, because that's mainly what it's going to be getting further into the playoffs, in my opinion.
Emma?
I would say work more of as a team and help each other, lift each other up and just play together, and we'll win.
Well, first off, before I even ask you guys my question, I just want to say how I look forward to, when I open the paper and go check the box scores. I love seeing you guys' numbers. I'm a big fan of people that fill boxes, and as you can see, you guys light it up. Kiki, you're shooting 45% from 3, and it's just amazing to me to be shooting at such a high clip. Can you talk to us about, was that a big focus for you this offseason?
Well, if I'm being honest with you, I did notice that my shooting was a little low, but it wasn't really as far as a big focus for me. My 3-point percentage has been going up because I took the time and focus on my footwork. It wasn't like I didn't know how to shoot, but I wasn't using correct footwork. And then, just putting in more time on the gun or shooting on the weekends and stuff like that definitely helps.
Emma, my question for you is, playing with Kiki, what does she do that makes your job easier on the court?
Definitely her passing skills, and how fast she plays. When me and her are up on top on defense, just her getting a steal and me going out and getting the ball for a layup. So her defense mainly.
Gotcha. Kiki, same question. What does Emma do that makes your job easier?
Same thing. She's just too smart on defense, and she's lengthy, so she has that length and she's able to create a lot of havoc. And then she's just very athletic, and I know that I can trust her with the ball and putting her in certain positions. I know that she'll do what she needs to do.
Ladies, it's been amazing watching you guys from afar play. Randall said last week you're the number one dynamic duo in the area, so that's very high praise. Best of luck to you. Hopefully, we'll get a chance to watch you guys in person, Winston-Salem, in another 2 weeks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on, and like I said, best of luck to you guys.
Thank you.
We
Of
appreciate
course.
you for having us.
Absolutely. Well, Randall, those are your girls rock stars. Now we got to bring in the Rick's picks. Let me call Rick up here. Those girls are really, really good. I mean, every day we look up, they're having big games. Rick, let's see what you got on the boys' side.
Well, we're going to start off with 5'10" sophomore Nolan Erickson of Mooresville. He had a game high 21 points. He had 4 3-pointers, had 9 free throws in the upset win at Lake Norman, and Lake Norman was ranked, the number 1 team in RPI for the 4A classification. What was unique about this, he hit timely shot after timely shot, and more importantly is you have to think that when Mooresville played Lake Norman at home, they lost by 35, so they go on the road, and he had a monster performance in the upset win over Lake Norman. Next up is 6'7" senior Jeremiah Howard of Concord. He's had multiple double games this season. This particular game, he had 24 points, 11 rebounds, and Concord is sitting, with a pretty good record, like at 15-9. Next up is 6'6" Robert Magner from Pine Lake Prep, had 24 points in the win, and this was important because it secured first place tie in their conference regular season. Next up, we have Mason Mitchell, 6'5" senior out of Northwestern, had a huge game, 29 points, 10 rebounds, 3 steals in a playoff loss to Westwood. And he also was selected to the South Carolina 4A all-region 3A team. So that was very good for him. And then last but not least, we have 6'7" Tosh Alberta. Had a huge game. It doesn't sound like it, but the score was like 39-37. He had 8 points, but more importantly, he had the walk-off game-winning shot against Butler on the road, and that secured the first place regular season in the Southwestern 4A.
Tosh, I want to hear about it, man. Tell me about that play. You get the ball at the end of the game, and you become the hero. About that.
I was just watching shooting guard and point guard Camp Yancey dribble around, man. Eventually, the ball ended up in my hands. I don't even remember how much time was on the clock, but I just knew I had to get it up in the air. I ended up taking a floater, and it fell. And
what are you thinking, Coach?
What am I thinking? I thought that was great.
Like you about to jump out of the gym right there.
Yeah, I mean it's a rivalry game, man. Butler and Independence it goes way back to when even I was in high school when Butler first opened up, and just to be able to get that win on the road, hostile environment. I guess I was most proud of our guys of maintaining their poise at the end. I didn't want to call a timeout. I felt like we were either going to get the last shot and win it, or we were going to go into overtime. So good job for the guys, being ready to execute and just make the right play, and Tosh finished, man. So it's big.
Yeah, Tosh, how big a deal is that rivalry? What makes playing Butler different than playing the other teams in conference?
Playing Butler is crazy. Even the atmosphere at school is different. Everyone knows that's a big game, especially this game Friday night at Butler for the conference championship. That's a huge game.
Yeah. And tell me about, playing in that conference tournament this week, because you could see him again on Friday night.
We just got to stay focused even after that big game, get ready for the conference tournament, and try to, win again.
Do you want to play Butler again?
It doesn't matter who we play. Just try to win.
Good answer.
Hey, Tosh, I have a question for you. You guys are 17-5 and 11-1 in conference play. And, you look around, a lot of the teams have, big time players as far as names, but it seems like every year Independence, coached by Preston Davis, always overachieves and, emphasizes that defense and, you grind it out on the court. How surprised are you by this season's regular season championship?
I'm not surprised at all. It's really a team effort with us all the time. We're all going out with one goal is to win. So it's no surprise at all.
Coach, what about you? Surprised?
Well, I felt like we had a good shot this year. Past couple of years we've taken some lumps. We lost some guys. We had to really kind of grow up. And so this year, going into this year, we had a goal. Last year we had a winning record, but we fell short of the playoffs, because of the RPI rankings and things like that. And so that kind of really stuck with me. And so I wanted to make sure going into this year that, I try to continue to emphasize that, hey, we want to get back to a certain level. And, the guys, they worked, had a tremendous off season. And, we came into the year focused on trying to improve and learned a lot early, took a couple of L's early, but really learned from it and just continue to work, and good things have happened, man, for this group.
I know you're a defensive coach, Coach Davis, but 39-37, I mean, what's going on with the O over there?
Man, you know what? I just, like Tosh says, man, our goal is to win. The one thing I always want to tell my guys is, defense gives you a chance to win, because your offense might not travel. You might not be hitting shots. So you just got to give yourself a chance. And, that was a game where, even though it was low scoring, it really didn't feel like the offense was just bad. It just felt like it was two heavyweight teams just slugging it out. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at the score, it's a little misleading to how it felt actually in the gym. But it was a great atmosphere. It was just, I'm glad we came out to win.
Yeah.
In your starting five, you have really good balance across the board too.
Yeah. Guys they're very unselfish. And it's kind of, I get frustrated sometimes because, their stats might not represent how good they really are. But it's a tribute to them because they're not really worried about stats. They're worried about one stat, and that's winning. And so I have to tip my hat to them, man. They work. They like each other. They get along with each other off the court. We have some good seniors. So we just trying to get ready for this postseason and see if we can continue to make a run.
All right. Well, Coach, I need you to hang on with us for a little while. But Josh, before you get out of here, was there a point in the season where you kind of felt like winning the title was possible? Was there a game, a moment of practice when you say, "Hey guys, we really can do this"?
Always after every game, just looking forward to the next one with a heads up. No matter if we won or lost, I always felt like we could win a title. I know if everybody plays at their best, we all play as one team, we could win any game. I feel like, so I always felt like we could win a title.
All right, man. Look, congratulations. Great win for you guys. Good luck in the tournament this week, and hopefully we catch you in the playoffs down the road. But Coach Davis, hang on. But Tosh, thanks a lot for coming on with us. Okay.
No problem. Thank you.
So, Coach Davis, we have a very interesting topic coming up that I want to get your opinion on. It's near and dear to my heart and to Gary Richmond's heart. And I wanted to hear, I'm going to let Gary give you his spiel, and then we'll let everybody talk about it. But I'm really curious, since you're an active coach, we got Coach Mitchell, who is just finished being active, to get you guys' opinions. But let's do it on the backside of this. All right, so we've been talking, Coach, about not having conference tournaments and having a city championship. Gary has some ideas. I have some ideas. But before I let Gary talk, how would you feel about having the city championship in lieu of conference tournaments?
Well, for me personally, it's interesting that that's your topic. We have our symposium now at the beginning of the year, and that was one idea that was thrown out amongst the coaches that was there for the boys side. And we kind of talked about, a couple coaches expressed interest in having that. I think it'll be good. The way Charlotte's grown now, it's such a big city. We got so many teams, and some of those teams don't get a chance to really see each other like that. I think it would mean a lot. I think the student athletes would buy into it, and I think most of the coaches would buy into it. I think it'd be different. I would like to see it myself.
All right. Well, we have some ideas of how you could see it, and I'm gonna let Mr. Richmond give you his ideas, and I'm going to give you a couple of mine. Gary, I'm gonna put your plan up on the screen here, Gary, so everybody can see it, and you can take it away. There you go.
Okay, the first one involves the selection process. It would be the top 2 teams from each of Charlotte Mac's 3 conferences are automatic qualifiers. So now that gives us 6. And then the third place teams in each of the conferences would be put in based on RPI. So we would only have 2 of third place teams to make it, to give us a feel of 8. Okay. Mm-hmm. And we play the games on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. They also would, it would be the same way for boys and girls. They would be paired up where you would try to play at a neutral site, if possible, and you try to keep the same schools at the same site. For example, Myers Park's boys and girls would qualify based on today's standing. So we try to keep those 2 programs at the same school so you don't divide up a school's loyalties between the girls and boys. For the remaining teams that don't qualify, they would be ranked from 1 to 12 based on the Max Preps RPI. And the higher seeds would play one another in a round robin contest where they play a game on Tuesday and the winners would play each other and the losers would play each other on Thursday. The reason for doing that is it gives everybody a chance to play that week. We don't want to ostracize the teams that don't make the final 8. And it also would give the teams that didn't qualify for the city championship a chance to improve their RPI for the state playoff selection. So that was my thing. Both Langston and I agree that on Friday, Championship Friday, you'd have the girls' championship. In between, you would announce the all conference of all conferences, the Coach of the Year awards. Langston even came up with the idea of maybe even having a 3-point contest or dunk contest between games, and then you'd have the boys' championship, and that would be at one location. So that's my idea of how to replace the conference champion, the conference tournaments, because what we see right now is everybody's playing each other 3 times. The first rounds, especially in the girls' conferences, is going to be very, very lopsided. And nobody wants to see that anymore. Only people are going to attend a Monday game, first round. Probably going to be the parents. So we want to do something to change it up, add some variety, and give something else to play for other than a state championship.
All right. Randall, haven't seen all that. Your thoughts?
Love it. As everybody knows, I'm a big fan of the conference tournament just because of, like we talked about last week, we get Independence, Catholic, and Butler round 3 in some sort of, in some way or another, probably on Friday. I think it's good in conferences like that where you have a chance to increase your RPI. But I think the way Gary has that plan written out is perfect. I love the idea of in between games having a 3-point shootout in the dunk contest. I think that would be really good. And it, like you said, it gives Charlotte a different look at things. And you get teams that don't really get to play each other would have a chance to go toe-to-toe.
Richard.
Love it. Excellent idea. Hopefully we can make it work.
That was great. Cameron, what do you think?
Yeah, I really like Gary's plan. I think he thought it out very well. I like the fact you're including the teams that don't necessarily make the the top 3 out of each conference. And I just think it's a better way to see teams play each other rather than the conference tournaments set up the way they are currently.
Coach Mitchell.
I love the idea too. I know that Langston, you've been talking about this for years.
Yes, I have.
The only thing that I have a question about is, do all conferences across the state, North Carolina High School Athletic Association, does everybody have a conference tournament, or is it different conferences have different rules?
Alex, do you know of anybody that does not have a conference tournament throughout North Carolina?
I do not know of anyone who doesn't have a conference tournament. What we have to pay attention to, a couple things. Number one, just the idea that, first off, and let me say this: I love the idea, love the concept. So let's get that out there. A couple things to pay attention to during that week going forward. We don't know what's going to happen when the next realignment takes effect and how these conferences are going to look. I still think we press on with it, but everyone has a conference tournament to my knowledge. Now, you get in the rub. Now, the NCHSA will say you don't have to have them, but to my knowledge, everyone has one. And you just want to be cognizant of the fact that we have no concept of what the conference model will look like beginning in 25-26. So love the idea. Let's just keep those two things in mind.
Okay, Chrissy, go back to your thoughts.
Alex, you almost made me have a Fred Sanford moment right there.
you were expecting much worse. Go ahead, Coach.
Oh.
No, so I mean that answers some questions. Is this something that the state is going to have to approve us getting out of doing a conference tournament and approve us moving forward?
No.
Or there's no approval for that?
They've told me 10 times it's okay as long as it doesn't exceed the game, the maximum number of games you can play. So if you take these 3 games and replace the conference tournament 3 games, they have no problem.
I think the only thing I love it. Don't get me wrong. I'm just playing devil's advocate for a minute.
Please do.
The only thing that could possibly deter some coaches that want to really support it is, you got the state tournament the following week, and instead of just cakewalking into the state playoffs, now you're going to have 3, pretty much a mini state championship, because in those 8 teams, probably all of those 8 teams have a really good shot.
I got something to show you in a second, Chrissy.
So I think that's the only thing is, you're going to, instead of saying, some teams can say, well, we just went undefeated in the conference, we're going to go ahead and win these next 3, and then we're going to prepare for the state playoffs. Now you have to prepare for 3 really tough games, and then 6 more games into the state.
Good point. Coach, having heard all this, what are you thinking now? We started out saying I like it. Has anybody changed your mind?
No, I mean I still think it's a good idea. I hope all the coaches would buy into that. I know some coaches have preferences. They don't want to play teams in the area as much as people.
Now, who would you be talking about, Coach David?
Listen, I'm just saying.
Who would you be talking about?
I'm just saying. I think it would be good.
Man, I'm not trying to get you. You my boy. I ain't trying to get you.
I like that one though, Coach Davis. I like that one though.
All right. So, Christy, here's my plan. We have 3 brackets. You have the top 8 in the Vicky Hamilton bracket, the top 8 teams based upon Sweet 16 rankings, whatever you want to call it. The next 8 in the Dave Harris bracket, and then the final 5 in the Sue Duran bracket. It's a double elimination tournament. Everybody gets 3 games instead of just 1 for a lot of teams. And the teams who would normally be on the back end of the beatdowns that I think it was Randall was talking about, or Gary was talking about with the girls, they're going to actually have a chance to win. Each team gets a trophy. There's going to be plaques given out to the all-tournament team in each bracket. So you have 3 brackets with 3 bracket winners. That's how I've always thought about this. And actually, last night when I was watching the dunk contest, it was boring me to death. I took a look at what that would look like. And then if we did the girls coach, this is what it would look like. I may have to zoom in on it. But this is what it would look like in the girls if we did a double elimination with the Vicky Hamilton bracket. Now, let me see if I can find it so I can blow it up. Wait a minute. I didn't know it was going to come out looking that small. Where's the Vicky? Did it get bigger? Or did I block it off?
Kind of.
Now can you
There
see
you
it?
go.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit better now.
How about now?
Mhm.
All right. So that's what it
Yep.
would look like right now. It'd be like those are the top 8, and I just put them in the bracket chart, and then they would break down that way. In the girls, and it'd be a double elimination bracket, and then everybody would get 3 games. And that's what, and I think it gives everybody a chance to play 3 games. It gives everybody a chance to play light competition. Now, Coach, to your point, that is going to be some tough games. Having seen that, does that make you feel even more strongly about what you were saying before?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
So no, I mean, I love it. I love competition. I do think that there's going to be some coaches that look at this right here and say, dang, I'm going to get beat up, or this is going to be really tough. And, there's some folks that don't want to play competition, unfortunately. So
she's 100% right. She's 100% right.
There's people that want their records. They want records more than they want competition.
Here's the thing. I look at it when you talk about competition.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's going to lose their last game. Okay?
That's correct.
In the state, except the state championship. Everybody's going to lose their last game. Okay? And good programs run in cycles. You'll have teams that have a good 3-4 year cycle, and then they'll be down 1 or 2 years, and then they'll come back and they'll have another good 3 years. Nobody has dominated CMS basketball for a whole decade. Now they've some been pretty close, but that's a rare occasion. And even those teams that were very good for a whole decade, they didn't win the championship every year.
No, that's a good point. I remember when Harding was
everything really goes in cycles.
Yeah.
It's gonna be 2 things that people are gonna argue with this. They're gonna argue, like Coach Mitchell and Coach Davis said, some people just aren't gonna want to play competition. 3 tough games instead of just my cakewalk to the city champion, conference championship. Another thing is going to be RPI. If I got to play all these tough teams, 3 games, and I'm sitting at 12 in the RPI, and we lose all 3 games, and it drops us down to 22. Those are going to be the 2 arguments that I could see people having.
Well, it doesn't have to be a double elimination. I just envision a double elimination, give everybody 3 games. But this is what the middle bracket would look like, Coach Mitchell. This would be the Dave Harris bracket. So these teams would have a legitimate chance to win something, whereas if you just had an open thing, we don't have enough games to have an open thing, but they probably would not have that opportunity. Do you like that or not?
I do like this. I mean, that definitely we're talking about the lopsided scoring. This does give the teams in the middle and the bottom tier teams in the area a more competitive game. I mean, that I like this a lot. It gives them the opportunity to compete against teams that are more like them and give them an opportunity to win some games as well.
Okay, and then I'll show you the last bracket as well, Coach Mitchell, and then I'll show you the board, what I came up with on the boards. This was I called it an open bracket, but we would call it like the Sue Duran bracket. I got to blow this one up too so you can see it. But my idea was to try to honor all of the past ADs in Charlotte. But that's what that would look like. And these guys would get the same treatment: trophy for the winner, all tournament team. Each all tournament player gets a plaque. I mean, the whole 9. They would get the same treatment.
I definitely think the second 2 brackets are going to be liked a whole lot by those coaches. I think the top bracket, and I think some coaches are going to love it, and some coaches are going to shy away from it. I think until we make the city championship so big that people are like, they're looking forward to this. This isn't like the conference championship. This is the big city championship. And my last question that I have is there not a way to include the private schools on this where it's a true city championship?
They have their playoffs this week, the tournament week. This is like their semifinals and quarterfinals. So I don't know how you would do that because their schedules don't match up unless they were to alter their schedules to match. It would be really tough to do. Gary,
want to make a couple quick comments. First off, on what Randall said about people shying away from competition, I'd like to throw the gauntlet down right here. This can become the premier event before the state tournament, not only in the greater Charlotte area, but in the greater, but in North Carolina, in terms of helping to further establish the tradition of Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools basketball in a Southeast regional and national landscape. And if coaches don't want to be a part of that, then withdraw your team from the event. I'd have to see that to believe it.
Right.
I'd have to see that to believe it. But if you don't want to be a part of it, then withdraw your team from the event. Let's see how that goes in the long run.
Well, when Preston was playing basketball in Charlotte, they used to have conference tournaments. Remember this, Preston? They would play them at big sites, 10,000 people there. It was a big deal, Coach Mitchell. And if we do this, I think it would be an even bigger deal. I think it would be unprecedented. I think everybody would want to be, all city. Be get that. Rick Lewis gives out the trophy. At the end, I think everybody would want to be a part of that. I think it would be televised. I think all the media would be there. I think everything. Go ahead, Gary.
Yeah, I think it would be good for recruiting too.
Oh, absolutely.
Where a lot of college coaches they have a tight schedule to go out in season to see games, and if they are able to go to a high school game, they want to see the person they're looking at against great competition.
Absolutely.
They don't want to see a kid that they're looking at playing against a team that's only won 5 games that season.
Okay, this is
not going to give them an accurate look at how good that person is that they want to recruit.
Absolutely. This is the boys Dave Harris bracket. So this will be the middle tier boys bracket of what we currently have. What do you think about that, Coach Davis, looking at that?
Man, that's tough. Y'all got Catholic in the middle bracket.
That's that's the first thing I noticed too, Coach.
But I'm saying that's just Langston looking at it. I was doing this while I was watching the dunk contest, chatting with Randall. So this is this is just a rough draft. You'd have a selection committee to do it, and you can base it off the Sweet 16, you can base it off max preps, you can base it off whatever you want to base it off of. But and then I took in the conference finish into it as well.
No, I think it's a good idea. I think I wanted to touch on a point that was just made about coaches, maybe shying away from competition.
Mm-hmm.
Another coach brought this up to me. He made a good point. I didn't think about this. Once you start an event like this and it gets some buzz and some hype, your kids are gonna put pressure on you because they're gonna want to know why we're not playing in it.
So that's going to be incredible. Well, at least from one media outlet in town, there's going to be an incredible amount of hype.
So that's another way to kind of ensure that everybody's in it, because once it's hyped up, kids and parents they're gonna want to be in it, especially if they feel like they got the best team. So
I think being able to be recognized by your peers and letting them see you win hardware, being recognized for making all conference, having a 3-point, having a dunk contest. I think everybody, and like I said, every media outlet will be there.
If this goes through, instead of this being the Talking Preps pre-tournament show, this would be Selection Sunday.
Oh yeah, right? Absolutely. All right, so this would be the Sue Duran bracket for the boys, Gary. This would be the open bracket for the boys. So each one of these teams, again, has a chance to win a championship, get a trophy, all of that, and there'll be an all-tournament team just like the other two brackets. So that's what that one would look like. Richard, you hadn't said anything in a minute. As I'm showing these boys brackets, what's going through your mind? I'm going to show you the big one here in a second.
I think it's a well thought out plan. As far as the top bracket, competition is only going to help you prepare for the state tournament. So, if you play 3 tough games, if you're one of those upper tier teams, you're probably going to be a pretty high seed in the state tournament. So you're probably going to have 1 or 2 games that may not be as tough, but I do think those games in the bracket will help prepare you for the state. I think competition's good. The second and the third bracket, I think, is fantastic for those teams that don't have a legitimate chance to go very deep in the state playoffs, but they have something to play for and something to win. And more importantly, I love the idea that these 3 conferences that you announce, the all-conference team, coach of the year, player of the year, at this particular event, along with a slam dunk and a 3-point contest. It will be the event in the state of North Carolina.
There you have it from the guy who puts on the best tournaments in the state of North Carolina. Coach Davis, this would be the city championship bracket, the Vicky Hamilton bracket. What do you think of this one?
I love it. Call Chris McDonald. I want my rematch with South Met. First round. I love it.
So you think people might get excited about this? We roll this out.
No, I think so. Like I said, it was something that the coaches talked about at the coaches symposium at the beginning of the year. The ones who were there, and it's an idea that is definitely on some coaches' minds that would be interested in this.
The one change that I would make is just like kind of in the state tournament where you try not to get conference teams matched up in the first round is right here.
Great point.
The Myers Park Ardrey Hill matchup. I mean, I would hope that we would be able to avoid conference matchups in the first round.
I mean you can easily swap Hopewell and Ardrey Hill. I wasn't thinking about that, Christian. That's a great point. I was just doing this based on our Sweet 16 ranking.
You would have it paired up where if a conference, say for example, you had North Meck and Chambers, the only way they would play each other if they were playing for the championship.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean,
keep in mind, as I said earlier, we don't know for sure what the conference configuration will be going forward. It might have to be a tweak at some point in terms of who knows if Lake Norman ends up in a Charlotte dominant conference or something like that, then obviously we'd have to pay attention to that in terms of seeding out a 1 or 2 from CMS. We just don't know what the realignment model is going to look like.
But the idea would be to include the teams that are in the Charlotte conferences. And from what I'm hearing from the people that are putting that stuff together, the conferences may not change a whole lot in terms of what they are now. You just may have 6A/7A/8A in the conference. Unfortunately, that's what
I hope they don't change the conferences. And
I don't think they are. There's just going to be some classification moves in the conference.
Yeah,
from what I hear. But Gary, having seen my plan and your plan, could we come up with a plan?
My only thing about your plan, and I love your plan, is that I would like to hold it to 2 games in the other 2 divisions so that everybody is at the championship on Friday.
No, my idea was to get them done by Thursday so everybody could be at the championship.
Well, that means they would have to play a back-to-back on one of those days.
They play back-to-back now.
Yeah, they do.
They play like the Queen City's Thursday semis and championship Friday. Semis Thursday, championship Friday.
As long as they don't mind playing a back-to-back, then I don't have a problem with it because everybody has a chance to win something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A kid that makes all tournament may not have made all conference, but that's still a good reward for having a good 3 days of games.
Yeah, well, that would be the hope. That would be the hope. Coach
Mike,
Davis,
I want to mention this. If this came to fruition, this would be an absolute PR coup for public schools.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And the other thing is, I think eventually there will be some businesses that might want to get involved with this type of thing down the road. But I just think it could be a win-win for CMS. I think, if you could get into a venue this big, it can draw 10,000 people. I think every round is going to sell out. You put it in the biggest gym CMS has until you get to the final round. I think all those gyms will be filled up each day. And
because I think tomorrow it's going to be a lot of empty gyms, especially with the school going on tomorrow.
Absolutely.
A lot of kids don't know that the conference tournament is starting tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of empty gyms tomorrow.
Yep. I agree. I agree. Cam, you haven't said anything. You're a young guy. What do you think, Mr. Cabarrus County?
I think it's a great idea. I tend to, just looking at both plans, I kind of like Gary's a little bit better, but I do like the idea of having split brackets, just based on team equivalency. I think it's an idea that coaches are either going to be all in for or not a big fan of. Just looking at some of those brackets, especially the top tier brackets in your plan lengths, and those are going to be a lot of tough games, a lot of tough matchups that probably some coaches don't want to see, some of those opponents till the state playoffs. But, like Alex said, if you don't want to play in it, just withdraw your team from it.
Well, I think even in Gary's plan is going to be the same thing when you get to those 8. It's just these 8.
In 2011, when I was coaching at Hopewell, we played Mallard Creek 4 times.
Yeah.
We played them in a holiday tournament, the old Bojangles tournament.
Yep.
We played 2 regular season games. Then we played them in a conference championship. And then we were in the same bracket in the state playoffs, but it just so happens that they lost before they got to us. Yeah. And that would have been 5 times in one season.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You really get to know somebody there. Well, Coach Davis, before we let you get out of here, man, thanks for hanging on with us. Just kind of your final thoughts, having seen these plans and seeing my layout, just your kind of final thoughts on this whole topic.
No, I mean, I think it's a great idea. I hope it gets done. I would love to see it. It'd be something different for our city. And like you said, especially for the public schools. I mean, we're in a state right now where we kind of need that. We need that to get some more. I
agree 100%.
Support. So I look forward to it. I'll do my part, and I'll definitely put it out there in coaches' ears and see if we can make some changes and get it done.
I have a feeling there's going to be a big story in the Charlotte Observer coming up pretty soon about this very topic. Well, thanks a lot, Preston, for coming up, man. Good luck in the conference tournament, and hopefully we'll see you. We still running 3-2?
A little bit.
Hopefully we'll see that 3-2 in Winston-Salem.
I hope so.
All right, well, man. Take care.
I used to seeing that. That's a good defense, man.
I saw it all the way to a ring a couple years ago. All right, Preston. Yeah. Take care, man.
All right.
Good dude right there. All right. It is time for Who Balled Out. So Randall made me go find this first guy, Terrace Bowie. Real short clip, Randall, but real short comment. Go ahead.
Ooh, not the East Bay going on in game. I mean, this.
All the dunks I saw last night.
He would have probably won it. He'd have probably won it.
Shot, no West embarrassed. This girl gets buckets. I enjoy watching her highlights. She's got the hook both ways. She got the jump shot. She's impressive. I was really impressed with her. Look at that. Give me that. She's inside out. And I was watching her finish.
Yeah, Kansas is a really good player.
Really good. Yeah, I cut off some of the highlights, but she's finishing both hands. She was finishing, over both shoulders. She was hitting threes. Rick, here's a guy, Blake. I can't say his last name from Huff. He can really shoot it too. See him there?
He can shoot.
Yeah, he can really, really shoot. I mean, his whole highlight clip is a bunch of like NBA threes. That was one of the closest ones that was probably in his highlight clip. I mean, he can really, really shoot the basketball for Huff. I'm looking at that gym there. There's nobody in there. We need a city championship so we can pack these gyms out.
Yeah.
All right, Josh Clark of Mallard Creek. Randall, another guy who's having a big year, a little bit under the radar, but he plays a little defense, does a little offense, does a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is a kid that gets it done on both ends of the floor. Marvin Ridge having a really good year so far. Josh likes getting downhill, does a really good job of finishing around the rim. They just have a really good team. They play really hard. They compete. Not a team that we talk about a lot this season, but they are fun to watch sometimes.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's having a really good year. I mean, I watching this film. I just loved how he can get coast to coast. He has really good speed. He's just unselfish, as you see there, kicking the ball out. But he had a lot of defensive clips in there that really impressed me too. So I was very impressed with Josh. So if you guys want to be on Who Balled Out, here's how to do it. Send your DM your clips to Observer Preps on Twitter or X or even Instagram. I think it's Observer Sports on Instagram. But send in your clips and you can be featured on Who Balled Out. So if it's the 3 of y'all on the screen together, I think I know what it's time for. Coach is being real quiet, and she knows what time it is.
Are we not doing an intro? We gonna go right at it?
We're doing the intro.
Okay. Okay, guys, the season went by so fast. I cannot believe that we are here with the conference tournament starting tomorrow. Next week starts the state playoffs. Do you guys think that a selection committee would be best instead of using the Max Preps computer system when we're doing the North Carolina playoff seedings? What do you think? Should we have a selection committee, or should we just continue going off the computer?
Go ahead, Coach Rick. You can go first.
Well, I particularly like the Max Prep ranking system. I mean, it's I know it's done by a computer. It's computer generated, but it takes a human element out of it, and also it takes any bias out of it as well. So no matter what system you have, someone's going to complain about it. Someone's going to complain about the Max Prep system, and someone's going to complain about if there's a selection committee. I just think you leave any political, things out of it if you just continue using the Max Prep.
I agree with a couple of things that Coach Rick said. When you put the human element into it, you can have people that have bias that like a school or don't like a school. So you have to take that into account. I think you still use the Max Prep ranking, but I think you need a human element also to make sure that, the matchups are correct and that everything, is the way that it should be. So I wouldn't say switch it completely, but I would say we need a committee to come in and just oversee and say, all right, it's correct. There's no changes that need to be made.
Okay. So under the next realignment, there could be 55 teams per class in basketball. Is a 32 team bracket, is that the right size? Do we go up? Do we go down? What's that look like?
I particularly like the 32 team bracket. That allows everybody, I think, to play 4 games to get to the championship. And, there's a situation where I don't think it does anybody any good when you have a number 1 seed playing a lower seed, or lower seeds playing each other to win that game to play the higher seed. I think at that particular point in time, pick your 32 best teams and roll with it.
I gotta agree with Coach Rick there. I mean, I think it's pointless to have some of these blowouts that we could have. I think you just put the best 32 in there, and let's go compete and see who can make it up.
And one other thing too is usually those type of games probably ends up costing the school more money than what they can make off of it, because of the travel time, the cost of the official security, and you're not really going to have a big attendance for those particular games.
Agreed. And last question. Girls basketball blowouts are persisting. What do we do? I mean, we've talked about this for the last couple of weeks, and we keep seeing it. What steps do we take to deal with this problem?
I mean, I think you've done a great job, but you're trying to get, clinics around the city going to try to get more interest. I think that's a big issue, is you have a bunch of girls who just aren't interested in the sport right now, whether it be to go play soccer, softball, volleyball. Like, my numbers are low this year for my team, and, I don't have the number of kids on my team that I normally have. So I think it's just down. So I think we just have to, work to try to build basketball back up in the community and get girls excited about playing, and just really, focusing on skill development, getting them in the gym, getting them interested, and try to build a lot of these programs back up.
Also, too, we talked about the conference tournaments. Doing away with a conference tournament, it would also allow, hopefully, a lot of the weaker girls teams to basically schedule other teams of equal ability and have more competitive matchups.
I agree with that as well.
No, that's a very interesting topic. Because Cam, you're out at a lot of games. What are you seeing when you're out there with these girls in the blowout? Cam. I don't think Cam can hear me talking.
I don't think you can hear me either.
No one can hear you talking.
He was asking you, what do you think about the blowouts in girls basketball, since you go to a lot of games, Cam?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I did not hear a word you were saying. I think there still needs to be. I think coaches need to first off understand, and we've beat a dead horse on this show talking about it already. Once you get to a certain mark, you gotta take your foot off the gas a little bit. I don't think there's any benefit of embarrassing another team, but I don't know what the exact answer is on bridging the talent gap with certain schools, but I definitely think there needs to be something done.
Yeah, no, I agree. Have you seen like teams pressing when they're up 40? Have you seen that?
A time or two. I mean, I'm not gonna
I'm
say
asking you to
which
say who it
school
is.
did
I'm
it
just
because
saying, have you seen it?
yeah, I mean I've seen it a time or two, and that could be for various reasons, but I don't think there's any reason good enough to constitute embarrassing someone, and that most importantly, another students and kids.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, before we get out of here, I'm gonna put Randall and Rick on the spot and find out who are the finalists for Mr. and Ms. Basketball. So, Randall, you had a hard time getting it down, but you got down to 8. So nobody can hear me right now.
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
I think Randall's frozen.
Well, Randall's was telling me he had a hard time. He got down to 8, but these are his 8. Not a lot of big surprises. Emerson Thompson, I think, moved up from our earlier rankings, but the rest of them, I think, were 1 through 8 on his list. I mean, just a really, really strong list. Alex, anybody on here surprise you at all?
No. No, there's no. I'm
man of many words.
I'm not going to say anything about this list because the list speaks for itself, and we're going to enjoy conference tournaments next week, and we're going to enjoy the state playoffs and see these young ladies continue to demonstrate the excellence that they've done all year long, and some of them for 4 years. This list speaks for itself.
Yeah, Randall, are you with us now? Randall still.
I am. I've been with you the whole time.
What? Tell us about your list.
Can you hear
man.
me?
Yes, tell us about your list.
I can hear you.
Tell us about your list.
I said I love the list. I love the list. I was really excited. It was hard. I mean, when I got down, I had 11 or 12 names, and I didn't know how to eliminate people, and I had to go back and do it multiple times. But I finally got it done, and then Coach Rick tried to call me out yesterday and said, "Oh, that wasn't too hard." He didn't know the struggle that I had before. But I'm really happy with this list. I feel like the players that are on this list have deserved it. They've had good seasons. They played really well. And like Alex said, I'm super excited to see them here in the state playoffs.
All right, so we're going to cut it to 3 next week, and then we're going to announce the winner the Monday of the regional week for the state association. So look out.
And that becomes a lot more difficult, though.
Say again, Rick?
That becomes a lot more difficult.
Yeah, but I mean, eventually we got to give it to somebody, so you got to cut it down. Tell us about the boys, Rick.
Well, first of all, I don't know if we've ever had a situation where in your final 8, 4 of the players are all committed to a big 4 school, UNC, Duke, NC State, and Wake Forest. You have Isaiah Evans, the Duke signee, Jalen Jude Harris is going to Wake Forest. He's having an outstanding year. He's averaging 31 points a game, 6 rebounds. Colt Langdon is one of the juniors for Millbrook. He's averaging 27 points a game, 10 rebounds. And the other thing I want to mention about this particular list, every one of these players is playing on a team that has a legitimate chance to win a state championship.
That's impressive.
You have 6'6" Paul McNeil going to NC State. I just wanted to tell you his numbers, for example. His numbers across the board are fantastic. Averaging 31 points a game, right at 10 rebounds, 4.7 assists, and 2.5 steals per game. So he's doing it across the board. You have UNC signee Drake Powell. To me, he's the most complete player in the class. His numbers won't stand out as much as, say, an Isaiah Evans or a Paul McNeil. But just to give you an idea, Drake's averaging 18, which isn't bad, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2.4 blocks per game. And he's probably, in my opinion, the best defensive player in the state of North Carolina.
That's very impressive. Very impressive.
Next up, you have 6'10" Trent Steinauer of Lake Norman. He's averaging a double-double. They're one of the best 4A teams in the state. He's averaging 15 points a game, 10 rebounds, and also 3 blocks. And then next up, we have the Miami signee, Austin Swartz, 6'5", 6'6". He's a do-it-all scorer. He can score from all 3 levels, but has tremendous range on his jumper. And the one player in the junior class, which is the number 1 player in the state of North Carolina, that this young man at 6'10" has a 7+ wingspan. He has NBA athleticism, and I think the sky's the limit for him. And he's having a great year for Myers Park, averaging over 17 points a game, and that's Sadiq White.
No, I agree. Sadiq White, it reminds me a lot. Well, not a lot, but he's just very similar to Antoine Jamison when I watched him play. He's got that quick second leap like Antoine. He actually be more athletic than Antoine was in high school, which is kind of hard to imagine.
Imagine a dunk contest. Imagine a dunk contest at the city championship with Sadiq, Isaiah Evans, and Tariq Bowie in it. How fun would that be?
Oh, it'd be nuts. It'd be absolutely nuts. The same deal, Rick.
Better than the one last night.
Yes, it won't take much. Same deal, Rick. Next week 3, and then the week after that 1.
Now we may have a hard time on this one.
Well, you got.
You know what? This is one of the deepest classes in North Carolina in quite some time. And you have 10 players in the state of North Carolina in the 2024 class that's ranked in the top 70 in almost every national recruiting ranking.
Yeah. All right, Christy, time for your shout out.
2002.
What?
No shout outs today. What I just have to say is, good luck to all the teams and players, coaches going forward the next couple of weeks. Seasons are, this is the time that you got to do it right or you go home. And from one mama whose heart was broken this past week, I won't see my baby dressed in purple and gold ever again playing in high school basketball. So it goes by fast. So enjoy every minute of it and give it your all the last couple games you have.
Absolutely. Gary, you made a comment in the chat that caught my eye, so I'm gonna give you 30 seconds. Tell me about why would a selection committee be better than Max Preps?
No, I didn't say it would be better than Max Preps. What I said is let the Max Preps choose the 32 teams and then let the selection committee seed the teams, because you don't want 2 teams from the same conference playing each other the first round or the second round. So you want to seed it where teams from the same conference don't play each other early in the tournament.
I kind of like that idea, Gary. I kind of like that idea.
So the biggest thing is get everybody who's supposed to be in the tournament, and then that's when the human element takes place. So you don't have, say, if a 16 team was Chambers and the 17 team was Hopewell, you don't want them playing for a 4th time. After playing in the conference tournament and playing 2 regular season games.
No, I mean, I hear that, and some of it is geography, but I mean, I think that's a great idea. All right, it's time to put the big star in the spot. What you got, Randall?
It's my favorite time of year, championship time of year. This one's for the players. Defense matters. Defense travels. You can't always control if you're making shots on the offensive end, but you can always control your energy and effort on the defensive end. I was told at a very young age that defense wins championships as well as rebounding. So defend and rebound, and good luck to everybody this week and heading into the state playoffs.
Alex put it in the chat.
As my co-host, Mr. Bass would say, get on D.
That is Alex's thing. Well, I want to thank you guys for coming on. I really enjoyed this show today. You guys talked about a topic that's close to my heart. The city championship. Hopefully one day it can come to fruition. But that's Randall Clark, the best trainer I know. That's Christy Mitchell, one of the best coaches I've ever known. That's the Get Guru in Training. Cameron Williams, Gary Richmond, the former CMS coach, Alex Bass, contrarian, who was a little non-contrary today. I was a little surprised.
This is the nicest Alex has ever been.
Yes. I mean, I threw it to him, and I was like, oh, Lord. I don't know what to expect. And that's Rick Lewis, the #1 voice in high school basketball, and we are Talking Preps.